Jim Courier, thanks so much for your time and joining us on USTA.com. Australian Open.
This is USTA.com?
This is
You're going. I'm out of here. All right, I'll stay.
Oh, dear. I mean, heck, you're being employed by them now.
I'm a part-time employee of the USTA. I'm a consultant.
I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, the Australian Open, we're back. The year's first Grand Slam, a huge event. I want to just take you back first. Give us your memories and what it was like playing here. You won it twice. You dived into the river twice. You wouldn't want to dive in now. Give us an idea of what you remember.
Well, first of all, the Australian Open is the best way for tennis players to start the year. You come out of the Northern American cold, and you get down here, and it's just a really fresh, friendly way to get the season started. And it's also a fairly isolated way for players to get started. So one of the things I enjoyed about coming down and playing here was the fact that there's not a lot of entourages here. It's really just the players, and they're really close inner circles. So it's a really good place to get focused and get off on the good foot. It's a high energy event, the Australian Open, and it's a very easy event because the hotels are close. There's just everything about it is a really nice way to move into the season, even though it's obviously high intensity as far as it being a major and it mattering and being something of substance. But I always felt very comfortable with people, and I always felt comfortable in the tournament here, and I think that's probably a large part of why I played so well down here overall.
Now, what advice would you give one of the young American players coming here playing for the first or second time?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's not that different now to a U.S. Open surface-wise. So it used to be a little bit more drastic with the rebound ace. You needed to kind of learn how to manage it because it changed with the temperature. Now, it's pretty standard. I would say you just got to get down here, get used to the balls, which are definitely a little bit different this year in particular. They're a little bit bigger, a little bit heavier, a little slower, and then you just have to get used to sort of the overall energy of the place and get your footing underneath you and come ready to play. Period.
First couple of days of play are over, but scanning the draw sheets, what have you picked up in your mind?
Well, I like to use this tournament to also see some of the younger players who are starting to pop their heads up a little bit and see how they're going. We were disappointed to see Sam Querrey go out in the first round here. Nice to see Donald Young come through with through the qualifying, even though he lost to Cilic pretty handily. And then I was watching a little bit of Dimitrov, who's a young player who looks pretty impressive. Barancas, who's out playing right now. These are some of the players you hear about, but unless you're on tour, you don't see much of because they don't get a lot of TV time. So I think it's good to see those younger players. I got to see Coco Van de Wey play a little bit. So, there's a lot of scouting that particularly in the early rounds, fans and people on the inside like us can do alike. What
are your thoughts on American chances over here?
I don't think our chances of winning are great, to be candid, but that shouldn't stop us from giving what we got. Look, Andy Roddick is a threat. If he's serving huge and he's bombing that forehand, no one wants to play him. Same goes with John Isner. Marty Fish had a great comeback. You never know with Venus either. She hasn't excelled down here recently, but we know she's more than capable of lifting trophies. But overall, I think you look just down the list of the seeds on the men's side, and you go, all right, we're just going to go down that list, and it's probably going to happen in the first one or two spots. Those guys will probably lift the trophy. Roger Rafa. On the women's side, I think Clijsters is going to be the favorite, but we're just getting started. It's too early to tell.
$64 question: how do you beat Roger or Rafa?
Well, I think to beat those guys, you really you have to take chances because they rarely, if ever, beat themselves, particularly in majors, and they have such a stranglehold on the majors in the last 5 years, 6 years. But you have to play on your limits, and you have to play fearless tennis, and you have to take it to them and not allow them to play comfortable. And that means a guy like Soderling, that means a Djokovic, that means Murray playing the way he did against Rafa here last year, really playing high-level aggressive tennis. It can be done. It's been done, but to beat both of them in a major, pretty tough.
Yeah, pretty tough.
Yeah.
Now, you hear it with television and a few other things, but as you just also alluded to, doing a bit of scouting, and I want to ask you now, what's it like being the U.S. Davis Cup captain? What's that feeling like when people refer to you that way?
Well, first and foremost, I have a lot of pride to be the captain and a sense of responsibility to really put the best face forward for U.S. tennis as the captain. It's definitely a responsibility, and I take it very seriously. I'm enjoying the challenge. I'm enjoying really getting a little closer with our players, all of our players, and interfacing with them with more frequency, interfacing with their coaches with more frequency, and watching them play here and trying to understand how they deal with adversity, because we'll be dealing with adversity on a match-by-match, point-by-point basis, and all of our Davis Cup ties, that's what it's all about. It's heightened adversity, and I look forward to being on the bench with our guys and hoping to help them produce their best tennis. But it's going to be a learning curve for all of us, and I'm taking it seriously as I should.
Well, being on the bench is not far off for the first time. Santiago, the Davis Cup first round is not too far off, and you could travel down there to play Chile. How excited are you about that?
Well, I booked my ticket about 6 weeks ago, so I'm ready to go. I'm very fired up. We're not sure who's going for the team yet. We'll be announcing that here as we get a little closer to the tie. But I'm thrilled to get a chance, and I'm actually really glad we're going on the road at first. I think one thing I know as a player is that the road ties are a little more heightened in a lot of ways, because you're going into the lion's den. And they're also a little bit more isolating for the team, and I think it'd probably be helpful for me as a captain to have our team in a little more controlled environment, a little less of our entourages, if you will, from the player side around.
Jimmy, on that note, my friend, have a great rest of the Australian Open.
You.
Also looking forward to seeing you down in Santiago. Thanks for joining us on USTA.com. Now, that wasn't so hard, was it?
It was hard. I need some caffeine.